The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Big news from the unemployment world, where the unemployment rate dropped below 4% in April for the first time since the year 2000, 3.9%. And of course, Donald Trump immediately going on Twitter and bragging about it. And I responded to him right away, as many others did, and said, wait a second, these were the numbers that were fake under Obama. How is it that the numbers that were fake and the real unemployment was like 40 or 50% under Obama now are the numbers that you're bragging about? And that's a lost cause, right? I mean, it's that you're never, ever, ever going to actually get them to say, we just say we can't trust the numbers when they're bad for us or when they're good for the other guy. And then otherwise, we do believe the numbers. Like, there's never going to be a coherent explanation. We just have to live with that.
I remember a reporter called out Sean Spicer on this point. Like, a new jobs report came out.
Yeah.
And it looked very good for Trump, but, you know, those same numbers were criticized under Obama.
Didn't he laugh it off?
And Spicer laughed it off.
Yeah.
He essentially admitted to it. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
They're never going to take it seriously. And, you know, the labor force participation rate and the U3 versus the U6, I mean, this is all relevant stuff.
Sure.
But it's equally relevant no matter what the numbers are, no matter who's the president, right? The fact that Donald Trump said you've got millions and millions and millions and millions of retirees and high school students and all these people that are not participating in the labor force under Obama, and that was concerning, and that now he says 3.9% with absolutely no shame whatsoever about the fact that he's no longer worried about those high school juniors and seniors and college students and stay-at-home parents and retirees that are not participating. Yeah. Doesn't matter. It's just 3.9%, completely unsatirically and with no sense of shame whatsoever. The objective and only unemployment rate now is 3.9%.
Well, it's okay because he made America great again. I think we're off in a better position now.
Yeah.
But I have to wonder, like, you know, sometimes when the unemployment rate lowers, we think, is it because people are just exhausting their benefits? Or is it because there's more job creation in the economy going on? I'd have to imagine it's a mix of both of those things.
It's always
right?
a mix. Yeah. That's the thing. And so when it was Obama, they were saying, listen, people are staying on unemployment for so long that they're losing unemployment benefits, meaning they're just out of the labor force. They no longer count as unemployed. And there are some people on the left now who are saying the same thing now. That's always the case. The question is, in what proportion, right? When you have baby boomers retiring, you have retirement more to blame for people exiting the labor force. It's not necessarily an indication that the economy is doing poorly. When you have a better economy, you have two-partner households where one person can afford not to work. That's someone who leaves the labor force, but because they're doing so well, not because they can't find a job. You need more data, right? The number alone doesn't tell you everything that's going on in the economy. And that's what they're never willing to admit. It's just, when it's Obama, he's lying and the real unemployment rate is 40%. And when it's Trump, no, it's just 3.9% and no other discussion is necessary.
And of course, we're not seeing many gains on wages. They ticked up a little bit, but it's still under 3%, which is below inflation.
Yep.
So I think when we see an increase in wages, that's when we'll be able to tell, in some regard, that the economy is doing pretty well, right?
Wages are a big thing.
We haven't seen that uptick since like the 1970s.
It's been a long time in inflation-adjusted wages, and just so you know, we don't want to compare necessarily to 3% because that would be the annual inflation, and these are being reported on a month-to-month basis. So you'd want to, annualize that when you see like 0.2% increase in wages.
2.5,
like
2.8%. Okay.
Okay, ongoing Capitol Hill drama over the future of the House chaplain is now over, after it escalated. Reverend Patrick Conroy had previously resigned as chaplain of the House of Representatives, and he now has rescinded that resignation, and he is not going to be resigning, and he wrote a letter. He's a Jesuit priest. He said that there was bias against the Catholic faith when Paul Ryan requested his resignation last month. Paul Ryan, of course, he's some version of Protestant, right? Like, he's not Catholic.
No, I think he's a Catholic.
Oh, he is Catholic.
Yeah, he's a good Catholic boy.
So then why is it that he wanted the Jesuit guy out?
That's the mystery. No one really seems to know.
That actually was sort of the catalyst of the controversy, right? Which is like, it wasn't immediately clear why Paul Ryan even was doing this.
Yeah, it's like there's so much going on in the country now. Why do you have to focus on the House chaplain? It's just like, pick your paddles a little bit better, Paul Ryan.
I think this is a great opportunity to mention that we probably shouldn't have a House chaplain, right? Like, are people forgetting that if we don't establish one religion over another, why would you have a Jesuit chaplain that opens House stuff? Even if most people are Christian, they're not in the House of Representatives or in the Senate. they're mostly not Jesuit, and there are some Jews, and at least you've got Keith Ellison, who's Muslim, and I don't know exactly what the total tally is on other religions there. Why? That's an establishment of one religion over another, and it's also an establishment of religion over non-religion.
And I understand, like, it's pretty benign. I'm sure he reads a prayer at the beginning of the votes and the end of the votes, and probably tries to keep it as apolitical as he can.
Sure.
And maybe even not focus on one denomination of Christianity, or try to encompass all religions to the extent that he can. But that's not the point, right? We're not supposed to establish any religion.
That's
We're
correct.
supposed to have freedom of religion and from religion, and we shouldn't see that in Congress.
And in fact, he normally would remain apolitical, but one of the reasons that supposedly Paul Ryan was angry with this guy is that around the time of the tax debate, he gave an invocation that sort of suggested that we should do what's good for everybody.
everyone, yeah.
Like, there was some language, some coded language that meant, like, this shouldn't be a tax cut for the rich and corporations, and we should really be thinking of everybody. And I guess a lot of people, including Paul Ryan, didn't like that, and maybe that's at play here.
That's stunning, because Paul Ryan thought that the tax cut would be good for everyone. Remember that
Supposedly.
woman who was able to afford her $60 a year Costco membership?
Yeah, if you believe him, then he believed that it was going to be really great for everybody. Okay. We have a story about a guy who was mauled to death by a bear when trying to take a selfie with that bear. And I think it's inappropriate to laugh at anybody who is suffers a tragedy like being mauled to death by a bear. But the frequency with which people on this planet, and often disproportionately Americans, seem to forget that wild animals are wild animals and end up getting hurt in this way is truly stunning to me. I mean, this is just, if you're an adult, what on earth would make you think that it's a good idea to try to take a selfie with a bear, right?
I have no idea. I remember last year when I went to Yellowstone National Park at the Welcome Center, they showed videos of people getting too close to the animals, be it them buffalo or bears or what have you. And, they seem pretty docile, just out and about doing their own thing. But when provoked, they will attack, and attack they will. And even after seeing that video, knowing that I'm certainly not going to do such a thing, as I was going about the park, I saw people getting way too close to the animals, turning their backs to them, too, to get that selfie. Yeah, because that's what you got to do to get the selfie, right? Extend the phone out.
Yeah.
You're in front of the animal. You can't even see it coming if it's going to attack you.
This took place in India, and there's a report from the Hindustan Times about this. The man's name is Prabhu Batara, and he was with a bunch of friends coming back from a wedding, and they stopped to use a bathroom and spotted an injured bear. And maybe the fact that it was injured made the guy think that it posed less of a danger or something like that. And he tried to, people who were with the guy tried to dissuade him from doing it. And he started, taking the selfie, and the bear charged at him. There was actually a struggle, and ultimately the guy was killed. And this was apparently all recorded on video. Local police said that it was notable to them that nobody tried to help, although, in those situations, my instinct would be, I see someone who's in danger, I want to try to help, but I would also hopefully in some way recognize that I'm helpless, right? It's an incredibly strong and powerful bear. What could I possibly even do unless I had a firearm, in which case I could try to shoot the bear, but risk shooting my friend as well.
Yeah, or try to create a distraction. So if you did have that firearm, maybe even just shooting it up in the air would be helpful.
Or maybe try to charge at the bear with the car, but stop short of hitting it, because you also would be hitting your friend if they're involved in a struggle. I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, there are ways to create a distraction in that scenario, though. I don't know how I would react. I don't know if they had any reasonable way of dissuading the bear from doing what he was doing. But it looks like the bystanders were filming the event.
Yeah.
That's something that I would not do. I mean, that's just insulting to everyone, I think.
I mean, more than likely, they were filming before they knew it was going to go bad. And then it starts going bad, and I guess in some way I understand kind of like freezing and you don't know what to do. Listen, I don't know what I would do if I were in that situation. It's being reported that the friends really acted inappropriately. I think that they did the right thing in trying to dissuade the guy from doing this in the first place. That's the best possible thing that they could have done, and they did that. If there's any criticism, it's you should have physically prevented this guy from going over to the bear.
People always make these jokes about how this is Darwinism, natural selection at work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of insulting. But
yeah, also,
way,
if the guy already
true.
had kids, then it's not Darwinism, because the idea of Darwinism is that individuals who have suboptimal traits don't live long enough to reproduce. So in a sense, if this guy did not have children, it is a form of Darwinism, although I don't know that. I guess to some degree there is a personality trait that would be hereditary that would maybe include the willingness to go up to a bear in this way. So there's probably some genetic component, but a lot of it is probably nurture over nature, like how this guy was raised. I don't know.
You ever go to like a dangerous area because of wildlife or because, you know, it's up high somewhere and there's a risk of you falling over and you see like a no selfie sign or no selfie sticks? Does that ever happen to you?
Not personally, but we've done stories about, you know, like there was some high peak somewhere that had to put a sign because people were trying to take selfies and stumbling down the hill.
Yeah, Niagara Falls, I think there's one now too.
Oh, no way. A friend of mine recently went there. I should ask him if he noticed that. Canadian side or U.S. side?
I would hope the Canadian side because the Canadian side's way better.
It is way better. But I would also assume that the Canadians would be less likely to need the sign so that you would be more likely to put a sign up on the American side because that's where most of the tourists that would need to be told that would be. That may be a stereotype, but that would sort of be my instinct. I try to not get anywhere near wildlife in this way where there could be a dangerous animal. And even, you know, like I know cows are very, very docile. Yeah. And sometimes like I'll find myself on some kind of farm and there are cows. And I will kind of go near them, but I still always have my guard up because at any time an animal could lose it and do who knows what.
You ever observe a herd of cows and then the bull comes up?
No, I've never seen that.
And the bull's always like, "What are you doing here?" And it's pretty terrifying, I gotta say.
The bull seems to be indicating, "What are you doing here?" to the people or to the cows?
The people.
Oh, right.
Like these are my cows.
I see. Yeah, I can understand that. All right. Well, I don't know that I've ever actually seen a bull in person.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know where I would.
You got to get out there, David.
Yeah, I know.
Got to see the middle of the country a little bit more.
Just like where. So if you drive around in the Midwest, you just see bulls.
Yeah, I mean there'll be like a bull or two, and there'll be 20 cows. We'll say.
No, I've never noticed them. Okay. Anyway, I'll get out there. Maybe I'll do like some kind of 4-H club membership to see a bull sometime. That's it for today's bonus show. We'll be back tomorrow.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.